Greetings, this is the Timeshare Traveler. Today is episode 260. My top 4 timeshare mistakes to avoid. To give you a quick overview, really this is about avoiding regrets. At the end of the day, you don't want to regret what you've done. So the first thing to be cautious about is don't buy too little. Make sure you buy enough that if you are going to actually take the leap and buy a timeshare, that you have enough to buy. The second thing is don't put yourself in a position where you're not able to use all of your points. Then you're just paying maintenance fees for something that you actually can't use. And I'll go through that a lot more detail actually. The other thing to avoid is, they offered me a free gift card. Why not? And go in nonchalant, and the next thing you know, you end up buying a timeshare without doing any planning or anything like that. And probably the most important one is don't forget to say no, and I'll explain why that's a good thing. Okay, so for now, let me jump right into the buy too little, and at the end, I'll tell you a little bit about my channel. So stay to the end, and you can hear a little more about my channel. Okay, my first sort of thing to avoid is buy too little, and that may sound like, well, why not pay the least amount? But sometimes buying the minimum the salesperson can sell you is not enough to do the vacations you want. And so you want to make sure, if you're going to take the leap, you want to buy enough to be able to actually do what you want to do. So, so if you buy the minimum, that may not be enough points for you to vacation you wanted, and they're just trying to get you a sale so that you get started. But if you get started in such a way that you can't enjoy it, then what good is that? It's better to know the hard truth about this is how much it's going to cost to buy the vacation you want to have, as opposed to, I can only buy this much. And then you don't usually know enough to figure out how to stretch things and do all kinds of things. My channel can help, but you're already kind of in a position where you just don't like it. And so it's something to be concerned about. I'd rather, truth is that if you can't afford what it takes to do it, then not doing it is better than dealing forever with feeling like you got cheated. And again, buying not enough leads to frustration. That should be obvious. But when they sold you the minimum, they didn't explain the limitations you were putting on yourself versus what you thought you might have been buying, because they don't do that because they're too focused on getting you to buy, not necessarily what you want. It's more about what they want. Before you buy, here's a way to get around that. Before you buy, clarify the vacations you can do. Verify the seasons, dates you want to use. Verify the unit size. Whether it's a studio, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, etc. Verify it's every year versus every other. Some contracts are every other year. And actually have them show you before you buy that what you can do. And actually, because they have a demo account, so they can show you. And you can verify, okay, that's the number of points. It pays to do a little extra. Look, at this point, if you are going to buy, it doesn't matter if it goes another hour longer. You shouldn't try to limit yourself at that point. You would rather, that might be good time well spent. Anyway, so that's the first pitfall, is not buying enough to where you can actually do the vacations you want to do. The next pitfall is not being able to use all your points. Now, this is sort of saying you bought too much, but it doesn't mean you bought a lot. It means that when you bought, you're like, I'll use my timeshare sometimes, but I want to go vacation over here. And then you end up vacationing over here and not using your points. So it isn't necessary that you bought, maybe you bought too many, but it isn't necessary that you bought a lot as far as timeshares go. So the way to get around that is have a plan for now and into the future and how you will use your timeshare. That way you can sort of plan what is enough. So for example, this is kind of a ridiculous example in the sense that I don't expect most people to do what I have done. I basically have used timeshares as my way of living, but I also treat it as an alternative to an RV. So even if I stop doing it, but I own roughly 15 to 20 weeks of timeshares, and I live full time, so I can stretch. I use other methods. There are other videos about how to do that on the channel, but so I don't use anywhere close to that. And the reason I did that is I have a plan when I don't live full time in timeshares. I have 3 kids that use them. Um, I still want to go to Hawaii for a month, so I will definitely use enough points. So I have a strategy, even though I'm now living full time, I didn't buy enough points to live full time all the time because I want to have the option of not traveling full time. Sort of like parking the RV in the backyard for a while when you're not using it. So the next thing is, when you use your timeshare points for cruise or airline tickets, it costs you more than paying cash. And the way I look at it, when I say that, I look at how much my cost per point is and how much when I buy something with the points, how much does it cost me versus equivalent in cash? Because I'm going to pay the maintenance fees in cash. So it's still cash. And when you do that, I find that airline tickets cost you twice as much. So that's kind of one of the sort of the moments you should go, oh, maybe I have too much. Let me rethink my strategy. What am I going to do? So when the salespeople are telling you all about how you can use it for this and you can use it for that, well, it's not necessarily cheaper to do that versus using your cash. And again, I treat my timeshare points like savings account, and I want to use them to maximize that, have my savings last as long as possible. So here's the other thing is, before you buy more, have you figured out how to use all the other different ways of vacation without using points? There are last minute deals on most of the exchanges for weeks under $400. So have you taken advantage of that? Maybe those aren't in the locations you want, so it's not right for you. Renting weeks, similar to cost of your maintenance. Some timeshares, WorldMark comes to mind as the ability for you to basically use last minute deals within the network, and you can pay cash, and it's actually below your maintenance fees. So those are additional weeks that you can do that you don't need to have purchase points up front. And then have you looked at the marketing and sales trips sort of teaser rates? Have you looked at, they have all kinds of programs like that. Now, you end up having to take sales presentations as a result of that, but if you're in the timeshare ownership, you're most likely taking timeshare presentations anyway, so it doesn't hurt to do those. And my point is look at all the other alternatives you have before you go ahead and buy more points, because you might end up then actually owning more points than you actually use. So that's my number 2. Make sure you're able to use all your points and you're comfortable and you have a plan. Even if you are using more for short-term, use maybe the last-minute deals to burst up above what you own. This next one is the one that annoys me the most. Only doing the presentation for the free gift. It's sort of like, and it's really going into it sort of with I'm on vacation. Oh, I'll get a free dinner. This should be no problem. Well, be prepared. You need to know why you would buy or won't, because they're going to make it sound really good, and they're only going to give you one side of the story. They're not going to give you the work side and all the things that, if you watch my channel, you learn about all the things that you need, the opportunities you have. So it's, the timeshare makes it, the salesperson makes it sound like your ownership's like magic. You just go on vacation, no problems, no anything. And by the way, everyone wants better vacations, so they're obviously tapping into a feeling that everybody has. The next question I have is, do you understand how timeshares work? So if you're going to, why go to a car showroom if you don't know how to drive? Know that maintenance fees is paid every year, even if you own a every other year contract. If you're not going to use the timeshare, sort of, again, don't go to car dealership because they're offering free hot dogs. You might end up buying a car if you don't know how to drive. Just don't put yourself in a position where you end up making a decision that you might regret later. Will you put in the work to learn how to leverage the timeshare potential and how to use all the features and stuff like that? So if that feels like a lot of work, and you really just want to go on vacation, book a hotel, maybe that's the right decision for you. Because to really get good at timeshares, it requires education. So by the way, if you bought an RV and lived in an RV, they'd say the same thing. It really makes a difference. So it's nothing unique to timeshares with regards to that. Just be aware that they'll make it sound inexpensive, and that's to hook you. Surely you can afford $300 a month. That's the cost once for maybe you're buying $30,000 and you're putting a couple. Put $2,000 down. Oh no! By the way, you can put it on the credit card. You don't even need to give me any cash. Well, the payback period on the cost of timeshares is really based on having it paid off, and it's still 7 years. So if you're not going to use it for 7 years on a regular basis, then maybe timeshares it might not be a good financial decision for you. So just something to consider. And let me jump to the last criteria. My last mistake is forgetting to say no. And that just doesn't mean say no because you're not interested. That's actually valid as well. I'm talking about the no to find out what you can get by saying no. So find out what they offer when you say no. They always have a deal to get you to come back, because if you're willing to come the first time, they're going to see if they can bring you back. Maybe they just do a better job. Figure out how you can use this as a future discount. For example, Hilton will offer you a week stay in Hawaii for the price of maintenance. So it's like you pay 1 year's worth of maintenance, go to a Hawaii vacation, you have to sit in a presentation for it. But why not? Why not? Because it's still, it'll cost you half to a third to a fourth what it'll cost you to actually book it online and stay there. So why not do it as long as you're comfortable going to the presentation, not feeling like you have to buy. So figure out what you can do. By the way, these are saying no are valid even when you already own. They still offer those packages to you. So it's not necessarily only if you don't own. Even if you're an owner, this is one way to avoid having too much, is you go get one of the marketing packages and you see if, I could do this every year. So this is just like a trial the first time you do it, and you say no, and you get the one extra week, and you say, I could do this every year. That way it's a way to learn, am I able to use this every year? Always ask for more than what they offer. If they have a bonus, I always ask for double. Sometimes you get no, sometimes they actually, some companies are actually fixed what they can offer you, but it never hurts to ask. And again, that's not quite the same thing as a no. It's no, I don't accept your bonus, and see what they have to offer. And just again, you don't know where the limits are unless you say no. And so on the way to yes is a lot of no's to make sure you understand, get the best deal. Hope this video was helpful. Please don't forget to give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. And now I'll tell you a little bit about my channel.
Hi, this is Cliff, and I'm the Timeshare Traveler. Welcome to my channel. The purpose of my channel is to educate those who love traveling in timeshares. I've been an owner for 15 plus years at timeshare ownership. I have elite ownership with Marriott, Hilton, and Worldmark. I have published over 100 timeshare video reviews, and I've published over 95 timeshare tips. I can be found on Facebook at Timeshare Trav, at Twitter, Timeshare Trav, and on the web at www.timesharetraveler.com.